Good evening. The US Secretary of Defense hinted tonight that retaliatory strikes are imminent following the deaths of 3 American soldiers in Jordan. Lloyd said America did not want a wider conflict in the Middle East, but he insisted that there would be what he called a multi-tiered response to the drone strike in which the soldiers were killed. The United States has blamed Iranian-backed militants for that attack. Iran insists it's not to blame. Tonight it's being reported that the US military is approving a list of Iranian targets in both Iraq and Syria, though there's been no official confirmation.
This is a dangerous moment in the Middle East. We will continue to work to avoid a wider conflict in the region. But we will take all necessary actions to defend the United States, our interests, and our people. And we will respond when we choose, where we choose, and how we choose.
And our military analyst, Sean Bell, is with me. So it looks like the United States knows what it wants to do and the plans are set.
It does, certainly from that news conference. I mean, after 3 US service personnel died and 34 injured, it's pretty clear that the US wants to do something. I mean, some of the US senators were calling for immediate and decisive action against targets in Iran, but it's pretty clear that President Biden just wanted to pause and think through his options. As you say, Lloyd talked about a multi-tiered approach. He also mentioned that the ultimate goal was to stop the conflict in Gaza extended. He also mentioned the Houthis, their illegal acts. But as to retribution, we still don't know when, or we don't know where. But as you say, there was lots of reports, actually, that the targets might actually be a bit more widespread in Syria and Iraq.
Right, what could it lead to?
Well, President Biden, frankly, is on the horns of a dilemma at the moment because some in the US want firm retaliation, but the danger is if he does that, it makes a bad situation even worse. The US will retaliate. They've got no choice, having lost 3 US servicemen like that. But it's pretty clear they're doing a lot of diplomatic efforts to show that that's not an escalation. And the core issue here is, bluntly, it's the Israel conflict in Gaza. Iran's been really clear. Stop the war in Gaza. Stop the risk of escalation. It's no coincidence there's a US brokered deal on the table to try and bring the war to at least a pause, if not to stop. They're talking about 2 months pause, 100 hostages potentially being released and solve the humanitarian situation. Prime Minister Netanyahu clearly is ultimately only focused on Hamas, but it is interesting. His popularity has plummeted at home. There's been loads of demonstrations that more needs to be done to release the hostages, and there's been a surge in international effort to try and find a way of stopping or at least pausing the war. It does feel as if we're fast approaching a tipping point.
Sean, quick word on Lloyd who apologised at the news conference for this secrecy surrounding his cancer diagnosis.
I think that it struck me particularly as an older gentleman. He was frequently asked about it. He apologised for not coming clean, but he said, I'm essentially a private man. The president has a lot on his plate. I didn't want to trouble him with this. And actually, there was a lot of respect, I think, amongst the audience that he was still standing firm, but he was clearly a troubled man. He's not well at the moment.
No. OK, Sean, thank you very much indeed.